Hello and welcome to Cycling Fashion Week, the world's only podcast that looks at cycling purely from its superficial vantage point. My name is Tony, and I will be your host this week. Alex is off, so this week we have Warren and a special guest co-host, Italian Alex. Welcome to the podcast, Alex.
Thanks, Tony, and thanks, Warren. I'm a big fan and friend of the pod, and happy to be here co-hosting with you guys tonight.
Great. We love having another Alex in, and one that doesn't just speak Italian but has some Italian blood.
Yeah, and it's funny that I should be subbing in for Alex too, because there's been a couple instances where I'm out riding and people will ask me like, "Oh, are you the Alex from Cycling Fashion Week podcast?" And I'm like, "No, that's not me." But it's happened twice, and I'm always flattered because I always agree with Alex's takes, and I appreciate the phonetically correct pronunciations of Italian words. So shout out to Alex
Yeah,
for all of the proper Italian pronunciations on all the words. Love it.
yeah. I don't know much Italian is going to be going on in this episode, but if anything comes up, we'll defer to you to make sure it's pronounced correctly.
I'll do my best.
I think we got to get into a hot topic. Rightfully so. We get sent emails, DMs, chats on the group ride about topics that have been hot in cycling for years, and people want us to establish the sort of final rule, the final say on it. So recently, we got a DM from a Toronto cyclist asking us to put to bed the socks over or under leg warmers debate. Now, I'm gonna let everyone in on this that this podcast was my brainchild. I'm not gonna take away from Ward and Alex's incredible work and what they do. And to be honest, they do a lot more than me in the podcast. But as the de facto supreme leader of cycling fashion, I am going to state here and now that the answer is socks under leg warmers. I know we're going to have some takes from my co-hosts here, but it doesn't matter. My answer is the answer. It's socks under leg warmers. Done.
So I'm just gonna say that first of all, I agree with you, Tony. But I think either last year or the year before, I got a little curious of what it would be like to put socks over leg warmers. And in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm showing off more of my sock, get some color in there, maybe it'll look okay. And so I put on a colorful pair of socks over my leg warmers, and I felt ridiculous the entire ride. I felt like my pajamas or my jeans were tucked into my socks. I felt like I was like back in middle school or something. And I just felt like I felt goofy. Like I was extremely self conscious the entire ride, which isn't a bad thing because I'm aware of what I'm wearing and I'm making sure I look good. And I just felt like I looked terrible. And I don't remember 100%, but I think I actually may have tucked them back under my leg warmers halfway through the ride because it just felt, and that was like just purely aesthetic reasons. Like I've never seen somebody pull it off well, and I certainly couldn't. And if I can't pull it off, I just don't think it can work.
I've never tried it. So, kudos for you, for trying it, I guess. It's something I haven't tried and I won't. But and now, Alex, this is your first shot at a take on Cycling Fashion Week. This will determine whether you are asked on again in the absence of a co-host or a host. Let's hear what you have to say on this topic.
Yeah, and I think this is why you guys need me to even out the dynamic here. I think it's kind of serendipitous that this is the episode of all episodes to bring me on because this is on my side also the hill that I am willing to die on. And I am a socks over tights person. I am team socks over
Oh,
tights. I know, and it's funny that I got brought on for this episode because I was the one a couple weeks ago who DM'd Cycling Fashion Week Pod the picture of my socks over my tights, calling it that their socks should go over your leg tights, and I got owned in the poll. It was majority tights or leg warmers over socks. And I think that if you're wearing like boot covers or booties or anything like that, like tuck the socks in, it should just be like the shoe cover and then the leg warmer or the tight. But if you've got socks and you've got like some thin leg warmers going on, then the socks should come over top. I don't know. I just think if you've got like a nice white sock and dark leg warmers. The sock over top, it just has like a nice appeal to it. It just looks stylish to me. I've seen some Belgian riders, that's always like the socks over tights backup that everyone uses. Belgian riders that have ridden with their socks over. I just think it's a nice look. Now, admittedly, I know that forever it's always been leg warmers over or tights over, but you know what? It's a new generation, a new way of thinking, and I just think it looks a little cooler. And like Warren said, you got to show those socks off. So I am going to continue to wear my socks over my leg warmers. One trend I have noticed, though, which I think is funny, is I've seen a couple people amongst like the more savvy, stylish riders that will, I don't know if they're like made this way or if they deliberately tuck them in, but some people will like tuck their leg warmers or like end them where their sock begins. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I don't. What?
Like the leg warmer will like, or the tight will like end at one point, and then they have their socks pulled up all the way, and the sock continues. It's almost like the leg warmer's cropped. I've seen a couple people with that, and I
So
don't know
are
if
they wearing knee warmers?
they're not knee warmers. No, because they go like beyond the knee. I don't
It's
know.
like a 7/8 length thing, or so maybe they're getting him hemmed. Who knows? I mean, this throws a whole wrench into the discussion, right? Because a large portion of it for me, and I'm a knee warmers guy. We've determined that. Actually, I didn't wear them today, but today was pretty close to a good knee warmers weather day for a ride. I just went full shorts, but I could have done knee warmers. Part of my disdain for it is that like sense of the way it sort of like looks over top as it like engulfs the last bit of your thing, that just something doesn't right, because typically it's sort of thicker than your sort of thin sock and stuff. So this is a wrinkle. If anybody's out there has, does this, has a hemmed or a 7/8 length tight or knee warmer, and can send us a picture of what Alex is talking about, that would be very appreciated at cyclingfashionweek@gmail.com.
Alex, I just have a quick question for you.
Yeah,
When you wear pants outside in the winter, like just walking around town, do you tuck your pants into your socks?
that's like a look I've seen. Like that's like a very Canadiana,
Oh,
like
fuck.
lumberjack thing. I have seen people like do that. It's not for me. Like that's not my aesthetic at all. I have seen that. I think it's like a pretty dated look, but I would never. No, not. I would never do that.
Then why do you think it's okay on the bike?
I don't know. It's just like it's a sports specific style. It just to me it looks right to have the sock over the leg warmer. I agree with what Tony was saying earlier though. Like if you have like if it's like bunching up, like the leg warmer or the tight is like really thick and like loose, and your sock goes over top and there's like scrunching up, and it's not like a clean like end of the sock and beginning of the tight, then it just looks kind of like hastily put together and like very shoddy looking. But if it's like clean, like the leg warmer is like skin tight and the sock goes over top and it's like also skin tight, I just think it's a clean look.
Well, I don't want to get too long into this because you're wrong and I'm right, and Warren and I are right. And we are the hosts of this podcast, and we run all this stuff. So for the young lady that was asking us, as well as all the other people who were probably waiting with bated breath to know what we had to say, despite the guest co-host Alex's opinion, the answer is socks underneath your leg warmers and tights. So I think I'm just going to end it there, and I'm the host, so I get to do it. You do what I say.
I knew we'd have a problem with inviting a soccer fan on here.
Well, that settles the debate. Next up is our weekly news segment. As you guys know, we talk about new releases, latest things that have come into the cycling world. This week, we have a new release from the godfather of stylish cycling, modern stylish cycling fashion, and that is Rafa. I'm going to let Alex, as he's the guest co-host, introduce the Rafa logo collection and tell us a little bit about it, and then we can discuss.
It looks like Rafa has released a new collection of off the bike items for off the bike wear. And they've released a couple sweaters, hoodies, some t-shirts, and also some shorts and pants. And for women, there's also some leggings and some tights as well. So it's a thorough collection of casual off the bike items. Now, with regards to my opinion of it, well, I actually, before I even knew it was released, I actually found out about it because a bunch of meme accounts on Instagram that I was following had been posting jokes and clowning it like crazy. And so I clicked on it and kind of went through the collection. And honestly, from my perspective, I kind of like it. And you know what? Frankly, probably shouldn't be taking all of your style tips from Instagram meme pages anyway. Goodness. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to say, you know what? The look for it is very like in line with, current trends in casual wear and kind of a lean to like what's going on in streetwear too. And people say that that's kind of lame and that they are trying to be youthful, and I'm like, well, yeah, why shouldn't they? They're just kind of reinventing their identity again, and brands do that all the time. So what about you, Tony? What do you think?
Tony, you can go in a sec. I just want to clarify. We're talking about this. This is literally called the Logo Collection, which I think is about as uncreative of a name as you can get for anything. I feel like we're looking at different things, but sorry, Tony, go ahead. I just want to clarify that for our listeners that this is literally called the Rafa Logo Collection.
Yeah, I mean it's a sort of self-explanatory thing, but I like it. I mean, I've been on record that I like off the bike style. I kind of, to me it harkens a lot back to my skateboarding days where, the stuff you wore, I mean, you could wear skateboarding, but the stuff you wore was usually skater brands, right? You wanted to have a Toy Machine shirt, you want to have a Volcom shirt, right? You wanted to wear the hat because kind of it was a sort of a symbol of you doing this kind of niche sport. I think in general, some of the pieces are not nice, but some of them are really nice. I really like the 6-panel cap they have, and a couple of the shirts and stuff. So I think that's the styling is really nice, and I generally like it. And then on top of me sort of originally liking it, kind of to Alex's point, I saw a meme page making fun of it and Panormal and saying that, I forget what the meme was exactly, but sort of saying anybody who chooses these are douchebags. It was one of those sort of illusion of choice memes or something. And you know what? Like it's all good and fun to make fun of Rafa, make fun of Panormal. But the reality is, and we've talked about this, these are brands that have brought a lot of style and are pushing conversations of style in cycling. And these losers who are making fun of it and their Grand Fondo kits, like, we don't need them. Like, I think the cycle, you know what? Maybe we are not in Canal, and I'm going on a rant because it just got to me right now. But cycling meme pages are in the Canal. There's like 400,000 of them. Like, most of them are bad. Like, if you're running a cycling meme page, there's a couple, I'm not going to mention them, who are sort of OG that you could keep going, but most of you just stop. Just delete the account and move on. I know this has nothing to do with the collection, but I'm just getting aggravated. So, anyways, I like the collection, but cycling meme pages have got to stop doing what they're doing. It's very bad.
I'll agree with you on cycling meme pages. Aside from Cat 3 memes, he's the GOAT. He barely posts, which moderation is a good thing, and that would be a tip for any of the creators of cycling meme pages out there. Take that tip. You don't have to post every hour. Now back to the logo collection. I see what you guys are saying. I see the points you're saying, but I'm going to go back to the fact that it is literally called the Logo Collection. Just one, I saw that pop up in my email, and I was just like, is this a joke? I thought it was like April 1st or something, because it seemed like a parody of Rafa.
The name is uninspired. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah. But I also, for me, I actually find the color palette is also pretty uninspired. Aside from I'd make a few exceptions. I'm with you on the 6-panel hat, Tony. I like the color, or at least, I like the color options there. Don't mind the color options of the beanie, but they've got I know there's different options, but the men's logo T-shirt with it's a pink T-shirt with a black Rafa logo. I feel like they've been selling that T-shirt for 10 or 5-10 years. I actually don't remember how long Rafa's been in business, but they flipped it. It used to be a black T-shirt with a pink logo on it for probably around the same price, $55. And I don't know, for me. And then there's the Brevet hoodie, which
Yeah, that's bad. I didn't say every piece was great. Like that's bad. Like that's a Walmart
Yeah,
looking item.
I
That's
didn't say,
no,
I know you didn't. I just, for me, it just feels like a cash grab, which this is 2 weeks in a row I'm complaining about cash grabs when I have stated I'm very pro consumerism. I don't know. It just feels like a designer took the logo and, took the like size scale tool on the logo and just went whoop, plopped it on some garments and hit send to the internet and, make thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, so I think what this sort of establishes that if anyone from Rafa or with connection with Rafa is listening, send Italian Alex and myself some samples. I love the hat, the six-panel hat I'll take, but the Musette bag, I think the logo sweater is nice too. Send us some samples, size large for myself, Alex.
yeah, I'm a size medium. I'll take the dark red T-shirt and one of
Sure,
the gray
Warren gets
beanies.
nothing. That's a fair. I think that's fair. So Rafa Connections, if you're listening, Alex and I send Cycling Fashion Week an email, and we'll get our addresses out to you.
All I'm saying is that a Rafa Cycling Fashion Week collection would not only sound better and look better because we would help them design it and we'd put more on it than just a logo. If I'm being honest, it would just be our logo on a t-shirt.
No, we put Rafa and then an X and then CFW, and that's a collabo. That's what you're doing. They can say Rafa
All
Cycling
right.
Fashion Week collabo, and then that's you might as well have Drake is designing it.
Yeah, like limited release, only like 50 T-shirts drop, and they go on, StockX for like
Yeah,
$500, as
yeah.
one
All
would.
right, perfect. Cyclingfashionweek@gmail.com. Welcome, everybody, to the Panache Police, the segment where we really just talk about whatever we feel like talking about. And so for this week, we have decided to rank our top 5 kit manufacturers from 5 through to 1. You will hear each of us discuss it, support it. Others can criticize. We'll start kind of in a method where we do 5. All of us give our fifth on our list. 4, 3, 2, 1, etc. I don't mind being a narcissist and getting started. So I'll start with my 5th brand, and that is the illustrious brand from Copenhagen, Panormal Studios, PNS. I'll give us a sort of a brief explanation of why I think this. I'm definitely docking them down lower because of their ubiquity and sort of the scene I cycle in. Which probably isn't fair, but I come from a sort of punk rock hip hop background as a teenager, so nicheness is important to me. But in the end, they've got simple, great designs. They're driving the conversation. There's a lot of nice stuff they're doing, so they make my top 5 list. Alex, over to you.
Thanks, Tony. So for me, for number 5, mine's got to be La Passione. Of all the brands in my list, I think that La Passione is probably the most underrated. And I think that they're providing something that's seriously was missing in the cycling style game, which is like well-fitting, understated, but stylish kit at a relatively affordable price. And I put affordable in air quotes because I mean that relative to the prices of other brands, not affordable in general. But I mean, you can go to La Passione, you can get a plain jersey, some plain socks, and some colored bibs, and you'll be posting fits on a pretty good budget. And the only reason it didn't necessarily score higher on my list is really just because while it's understated and very sleek, sometimes I just feel like it can be a bit too plain, and there's not necessarily a lot of statement pieces in their collection. And that might be a positive to some people. Some people like to play it safe and just keep the colors mute. But I'm a little bit more bombastic with my kit.
Oh, interesting picks. I was kind of expecting Tony and I to have a fair bit of overlap on ours. I should clarify, we haven't shared these number or rankings with each other beforehand, so this is happening in real time. We're just what we're discovering. My number 5, I'm gonna go with almost like a throwback, and it might be a bit of a controversial pick with the way cycling trends are going these days. Is my number 5 is a brand called Hunter Brothers Cycling from Australia. Now, I'm actually not necessarily the biggest fan of their designs. I don't own any kit from them, but if you're looking to go like some slightly wilder designs, I think they have some options that are interesting, and I respect the fact that they are not following cycling trends. They keep making these weird prints that are like, I mean, Tony would probably like them because they're, I would say they're kind of punk rock inspired. You know, they sort of fill the niche of the extremely tatted up Australian guys. Like, I'm, you know, won't go into my feelings on Australia as a country, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I respect what they're doing. I don't own any of it. I don't know I would buy any of it.
Yeah, well, you're wrong, Warren. That's too messenger. I know this isn't a top five opinion thing, but I'm really disappointed in you on this one. But I guess at the same time, I'm proud of you. Also proud of you because you went out on a limb, and I did not expect anybody to put this on their list. But also disappointed because their stuff is terrible. All right, let's move on. Number 4, Italian Alex mentioned on a budget, and you know what? We talk a lot about spending money. Spending money is pro. We know that. But sometimes there are some people who just want to save a little money and get something nice. So my number 4 brand is the AliExpress house brand Spexel.
Jesus.
I'm surprised that made it.
Honestly, they make some great kit. I've got a few
Oh.
things. You can get plain, solid colored jerseys in navy, gray, black. Very simple. I've never tried their bibs, so I don't know if their bibs are any good, but I would be wary of that. But they come in around a $30 price point. It'll take you 3 or 4 months to get them, so order early on. But I like them. I like the way they fit. If you're tight for money right now and you don't want to wear something awful that your dad who used to ride on the Racer Sport T-Fold Man Group is giving you, get a nice navy plain jersey from Spexel. Spexel's my number 4.
Okay, sorry, Alex. I'm going to jump in before you give your number 4 because, Tony, you don't get to rail me for my Hunter Brothers pick and then pick fucking Spexel. Like, are you kidding
Trust
me?
People who know Spexel know Spexel. Those is a great pick.
Listen, I own some Spexel kit myself, but if you're by picking Spexel, you are picking Panoramel, you're picking Rafa, you're picking Map because that's all it is.
Yeah, but at a $30 price for a jersey. So
That's true.
wait times are long.
Go ahead, Alex.
For me, going to my number 4, this one was an interesting pick because it's something that I couldn't really wear myself, but I had to throw it in there as an admirer and enjoyer of the brand. For me, number 4 is a Peppermint Cycling Company. It's been said, many times on the pod by yourselves and your guests, but until pretty recently, the guiding principle for women's cycling apparel was just to shrink it and pink it, and there was little variation in women's style. It was obviously, dudes designing for women, and what they were making was really whack. But it's just really cool to see a brand that's designed where women's wear is the main feature and it's not an afterthought. And I'm not just saying that because of their mission or their place in the style ecosystem either. Frankly, there's been a couple instances where I'm out on a group ride and someone's wearing peppermint kit and I'm like, "Oh, what is that? That's pretty cool." And I'm like, "Where'd you get that kit?" And then I learn it's peppermint and I'm really disappointed because I can't get it myself. And so yeah, I think that they make some pretty stylish kit as well. I really like the idea that it is women focused and designed for women, and I hope to see more of it on the road in Toronto. I'm a big fan.
That exact same thing has happened to me, Alex, where I've been on a ride with someone and said, "Oh, it's a nice kit," thinking oh, maybe it'd be something I purchased, and they told me it's peppermint. Maybe I don't want to change their mission. Maybe one day they'll expand to men because whoever designs for this stuff does a great job.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't have much to add. So I'll just go to my 4th pick. So coming in number 4 for me is Map. Now, that is because Map, I have a long personal history with Map. It was the first real jersey I purchased, or the first one when I was consciously bought something for style. Yeah, so Map was, for me, it was just the first time I bought a jersey because it looked good, and turns out it also performed really well. And from there, I've bought a bunch of kit from them over the years, and I haven't been as crazy about their designs in the last few years, but every now and again they just come out with a classic, a really good staple that works for anybody. And I have to give a shout out to their bibs, both in terms of looks. 5-6 years later, the color is as deep. I have a pair of navy blue bibs that I've had for 6 years, and the color is as good as the day I bought them, and they're still as comfortable as ever. I don't know how many thousands of kilometers I put in those bibs, but I'm almost thinking I should have rated them higher as I'm talking about it. But yeah, Map's my number 4.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Warren, that you should bring up like the aesthetic change in their jerseys. I mean, bibs are always going to be plain colors, but I've noticed too, like in the recent seasons of new apparel that they've dropped, they've kind of eschewed their inclinations towards like crazy patterns with, bright polarizing colors. And they've kind of gone like the pas normal attaque route where like their jerseys are just one color or like two colors, and aesthetically like they're very easy on the eyes, but I just find that it doesn't have that wow factor that it once did, where it was like I would see a jersey from Map and I'd be like, I have to have that jersey. It would be like
Mm-hmm.
it would have like the world champion stripes with like the alternate colors, or there'd be like triangles all over it. Like I love that stuff, and I feel like they've kind of deviated from that. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping they bring that back.
Yeah, I agree with you. They have deviated from that, and I can picture the exact jerseys you just referenced. Yeah, last week I kind of laid into them a bit for their alt road collection, but here's hoping they can turn it around.
My third is also an Australian brand. Now, Alex just pronounced it as attaque. I have a feeling as Australians, they pronounce it attacker. They do beautiful stuff, and they really have gotten into a wide range. They've got their A-line collection, which gives you that simple, solid color, little more affordable price point that really gives you if you kind of want understated. And then they do a lot of collaborations. Some of it good, some of it bad. They've done Keith Haring, they've done Basquiat. That's the only ones off the top of my head, those artists, but I know they've done others. And some of them are really wild, really beautiful, really good if you've got a strong base collection and just need to want to have some sort of statement pieces for certain types of rides to sort of fill out your cycling wardrobe. So yeah, number 3 on my list is attacker or attaque.
I'm gonna stop you there for a sec, Tony. I don't know if it was Attacker or if it was another brand, but if I remember correctly, I don't think they do it anymore. Was it them who used to do like limited batch releases of like a particular kit where it was like a matching jersey and shorts and socks, and it was like a kind of like a one full collection, like you'd buy the whole thing?
Yeah, they did that. The ones that I think off the top of my head are the Keith Haring and the Basquiat ones, but they've done others. Yeah, I think they still do it. I mean, I don't know. You got to, I guess, kind of keep up on their social media, but yeah, where it was essentially be one, you could buy the jersey and the bibs, and be one thing. And it was usually very sort of loud and bold, and they did it with other artists or other sort of themes of the collection. And so I'm saying I really like that they have that. But then if you want to go and buy more sort of subdued everyday cycling wear, you got that option with them as well. And the quality is pretty good. I think all these brands, especially Spexel, really kind of hit the quality point. So quality we don't have to talk too much about because they're all kind of hitting it. But Alex, why don't you hit us with your number 3?
Yeah, so for me, my number 3, and this is gonna be, I need to explain this one, so I'm gonna say it, and then everyone's gonna be very confused about this decision, and then I'm gonna explain why, and hopefully I can justify this pick. I know this brand has been debated before on the pod, and I'm gonna potentially resurrect that debate because I'm not over it. My number 3 is Castelli. And this is the podcast of hot takes, and here's where I'm throwing down on my hot take. I'm putting Castelli in my top 5 as actually my third. And the reason for that is because I think when people talk about or think about cycling style, people put a lot of emphasis and stock and value into the ostensive like aesthetic of kit, kit that's at a surface level, it's like really appealing and pleasing to the eye, your panormals, your maps. It's beautiful kit, it looks really nice, everything matches, it's clean. That's how it looks on a surface level. It's like the instagramification of cycling. But when you think about style and what constitutes style and what creates style, just from multi-sport backgrounds and being someone that, observes trends in clothing off the bike, culture plays into style. And no brand has been like for the culture, like for cycling culture, like Castelli. And like they make some really Uggo kit, like no doubt. I've seen some really whack stuff come out of that brand, but they're like so intrinsically weaved into cycling history that I think that that presence over like decades of world tour racing and casual riding gives that brand like some prestige and cachet that, even if you're a newcomer in cycling style as a brand, you can't like make that. That can't be created. It has to be acquired over like decades of involvement. And so because it's part of the culture, like that to me emanates style. Like they are to cycling what like Air Jordan would be to basketball or like what Adidas is to soccer. Like you can go back and look at vintage photos of like the Peloton from like the 1950s, and you'll see a Castelli Scorpion logo in the mix. So I think, I got to put some respect on Castelli's name. That cultural intricacy to the sport gives it some style. And so I'm throwing it up on my top five.
The only thing I'm going to say to that is if you're equating the Nike swoosh to a scorpion, I I don't know what to tell you. That's the extent of my thoughts. Yeah, let's just leave that there.
I think it was a good. I think it was a good take and a good defense, and I'm interested to hear their stuff. And I've had my issues with Castelli, but like I said, I like that they make me feel like a fat ass because I have to buy a size up in them than I buy in every other kit I've ever bought because their stuff so European fit. So I get to just no matter how much work I put on the bike and how much nutritious sort of low calorie meals I eat. If I want to buy something from Castelli, I'm a size larger than I am. So that's pro. It's pro to make you feel bad about yourself.
So yeah, I'll just quickly add. Actually, I'm my normal size in Castelli, so that makes me feel fit. So thanks, Castelli.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna flex that. I am my own size in Castelli. I'm going with that. I'm proud of it.
My team is our kit is made by Castelli, and I think the majority of the team sized up, and I did not. So that's another. I've flexed twice about my my cycling physique on this podcast, which is easy to do when no one can see me. Anyway, my third pick is a brand called Ornat out of San Francisco. I feel like people who listen to this extremely niche podcast are probably at least some listeners are probably vaguely aware of Ornat. I don't think they're super big, but they do a lot of like block color designs, and then they might throw in a little stripe here or there, a few like subtle shapes. And I bought my first kit from them. I bought a thermal jersey from them last year, and it was like the fit was super pro, like extremely tight. I could barely breathe, but the color was also really rich. It's a nice sage color. It's super warm, but it breathes well, which is function. So I won't get too much into that. But yeah, I'm really liking everything they've been put out. I've since picked up like a wind jacket that I got some compliments on from people very recently. I don't really have much to add. I think they've got a lot of nice stuff for men and women.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something I would have thought of, but no complaints about them. No hot takes from my side.
Yeah, I mean, I know of Ornat. I've seen their kit before. It's just, tried and true stylish kit. No complaints. Can't talk back on that. I approve of that commendation.
Yeah, so I think for number two on my list, we can move actually quickly past it because Alex, put it on his list, and that's La Passion. Everything he said, I think he hit the nail on the head. They've been, this is supposed to be a superficial podcast, but sometimes you got to give credit where credit's due, and the comfort of their bibs, of all the bibs I've ever owned, with of all different price points, there's his tops. So I'm just going to move past two, and La Passion is two on my list. Alex, why don't you hit us with your second to last?
Yeah, so if I to go with mine, I'm surprised we've gotten this far, and maybe it's someone's number one. Not sure if it's gonna be, but there's a chance. And my number two's got to be Rafa. I mean, if we're talking style and style brands, in my opinion, Rafa's gotta make the cut. I know they're like the punchline of every joke, and we've talked about how they get dunked on a little bit too much on the unfunny meme accounts, but they've made up the biggest part of my wardrobe. Their pro team kit and bibs just fit me perfectly. And I think what makes them sort of stand out from some of their competitors, like a Map or like a Panormal, is that they were the ones who popularized like stylish kit, and so I got to give them respect for being the progenitors of cycling style. And kind of what I alluded to in my pick for Castelli as my number three, I got to give Rafa credit for being for the culture as well. You know, they've sponsored World Tour teams, cyclocross teams, both for men and women. And they do all those interesting events year round, like the Women's 100, the Festive 500. You know, it's not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but I think that they get involved in getting people out riding. I think just lends some authenticity to their brands. They're more than just, you know, trying to get people to post fits. They're actually trying to get people to ride. And that to me is commendable. Also, free shipping, you know, that's definitely stylish. Paying duties is not stylish at all. So that gets them a high rating for me.
Yeah, I want to kind of go. I'm going to do a little thing, the good and the bad of it. I want to give them a shout out because we're into cycling about sort of improving yourself, improving your fitness. I love that they have that. Because I've had to use it. Where you get a discount if you have to size down because you've gained a bit of fitness from your cycling. I think that's a great sort of initiative because it's sort of inevitable when you're cycling. But I'm just going to put, and I've mentioned this before, but I'm just going to put a sort of a fine tip on it. No Rafa Cycling Club. Please do not do that. I don't delete your membership. I don't know how it works. I don't know you get it, but you do not look cool. You look bad. So good on them for the culture, helping people get fit and saving a couple bucks. No Rafa Cycling Club.
I'm not going to harp on this too much, but I'll only say that I believe French Alex threw Rafa into the canal in one of our first episodes, and as more time passes, the more I'm kind of aligned with him. As I used to own a lot of Rafa, and I don't really anymore, and it's kind of the extent of my thoughts on that. I actually, same thing with Tony. We don't have to spend much time on it because my number two is also La Passion, and yeah, you guys have said it all. I think Tony and I might end up having the same one too, but
I think we do, but
we'll see. But anyway, yeah, La Passion. If you don't know it, look it up.
Yeah, again, so it's three on on all three of our lists. So I think that we had a discussion with on the first episode. So I think everyone out there knows how we feel. And so my number one, and I have a very strong feeling this is Warren. So maybe to save some time, we'll sort of skip by Alex and go to this. Is by far my favorite brand. I own caps. I own socks. I own bibs. I own long sleeves. I own everything I could kind of get from them. They're a really niche brand. I think they're doing Panormal better than Panormal. They're British origin. Everything they've done, from their marketing to their style to their customer service, because I had some issues that they resolved very well. That is Albion. Albion is my number one. I didn't have to think about this for more than a second. I almost don't want to talk about this because we know we have a huge listenership here. And I sort of don't. I've only seen, besides myself and Warren, a couple other people wearing Albion out. Mm-hmm. So I sort of want to keep it kind of close to the vest. But for those who haven't seen it, they do great stuff. Simple, beautiful. They've just released a women's collection. They've got great accessories. They were sort of the first that I got one of those, phone pouches, fully waterproof. I even tested it, put it under a tap. Like it's great stuff. The colors go with me. They've got great films on their website. I'm kind of gushing, but absolutely love them. Top of my list.
Yeah, Tony, you're correct. So sorry, Alex. I'll just jump in because mine is the same, and I also thought this would probably be the case when we were making these lists secretly on our own. I agree. I think Tony said it best. Albion is doing Panormal better than Panormal, and it's going to be sad once more people figure that out because I'll feel less special about myself, and that's some stuff I have to uncover in therapy. But for me, I think they're just. I look forward to every single release that come out because my bank account does not, because I almost always get something, whether it's a cap, leg warmers, arm warmers, jersey, bibs. I know they have a fall winter collection coming out soon. I am literally saving money in my account right now aside because I will inevitably buy something. I don't even know what it looks like. They literally sent out a blueprint drawing as a teaser, and I'm like, I'm in. Even your blueprints look good. Uh, Take my money, Albion. You are easily my number one kit choice.
All right. That really settles the debate, but let's see what Alex has to say. Did you happen to choose Albion as your number one kit?
You know what? I was hoping you guys chose the same one as me, and I don't know why, but I had this gut feeling that we all chose the same one, but I did not choose Albion. I respect the Albion choice. I think you guys said it best. They just make some really nice looking, interesting kit. It's unique and colorful without being too over the top. It's similar to its competitors without being like a replica or a knockoff. So I get the hype and I respect the brand, but for me, my number one has it's also kind of a boutique brand, but I gotta go with Team Dream Team as my number one, and
Oh,
I gotta go with Team Dream Team just because I think that they best like represent my like ethos when it comes to posting fits on the bike and off the bike, which is just to have fun with it. They're really playful with their patterns and their colors, and there's plenty of brands if you want to get some sleek earth tone, monochrome color kit, your navies, your beiges, your whites. Like if you want those standard colors, you got a million brands for that. But there's only one brand you can go to where you can get like lime green and electric blue bibs and jerseys with like crazy garish kaleidoscopic prints.
Massive jersey.
Yeah, they're so over the top and like bombastic that I just can't help but stan Team Dream Team. If you're going to be seen in spandex, you might as well go all the way with your colors and designs. And so I think that it just best represents, what I try to do when I'm on my bike, which is just to, don't take yourself, too seriously and have some fun with it.
a lot. Yeah, honestly, a lot of respect for Team Dream Team. I've had some socks. That's sort of the abundance of it. But I just want to say to sort of put a little cherry on top of Alex's comment about that he likes to be out there. He does ride a Celeste Bianchi, which is the sort of bike version of being ostentatious and sort of saying, "Look at me, I'm an Italian Canadian who loves cycling, loves soccer." Celeste Bianchi is just the way to kick everyone in the teeth when you're riding your bike. So a Team Dream Team and a Celeste Bianchi, you won't miss them on the road.
Also, just want to add about Team Dream Team too. That yeah, I also very much respect that choice. I have several pairs of socks from them. There's a good shop in Toronto called Dismount that carries some kit from Team Dream Team. Because I was gonna say it's like I like a lot of the stuff I see from them, but it seems impossible to buy anything from them because it's always sold out in seconds. But I do have a couple pairs of socks, and like I've never gotten so many so many comments on a pair of socks and the vibrance of the color that I have on that one pair of bright orange socks I have. I just want to make an acknowledgement because I thought of this as we were talking about all these colors with these solid, when we were talking about all these brands with these solid colors, is I just wanted to give almost like a shout out or an acknowledgement to Search and State out of New York, because I feel like they've been doing the solid color thing way before Pan Armel. They've done it simply. I don't want to get too much into it because they're not in my top 5 for various reasons, mostly because they make camo and they refuse to stop, and that's a problem. But
Yeah.
I do want to just, I feel like I need to acknowledge them because I feel like they get overlooked nowadays in the cycling fashion circles.
Yeah, honorable mention to Search and State. No disrespect to them. They didn't make the top 5, but maybe they made your top 5. If anybody wants to agree, disagree, send in their top 5. DM us at Cycling Fashion Week on Instagram. Email us, cyclingfashionweek@gmail.com. Yeah, hit us up with your thoughts and opinions. Welcome to In the Canal, the segment where we toss an item of cycling into the canal, into the Montreal's Lachine Canal to maybe never be seen again, maybe to make a reappearance if they do the correct thing. So I think it's only appropriate to start off with our guest co-host. And Italian Alex, why don't you tell us what you've got into the canal?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. So, my what I'm throwing into the canal this week isn't necessarily a particular garment or component of cycling directly, but is more about conduct. And I think that, when it comes to on the bike poise, conduct definitely factors into style. You can have all the right clothes, dress yourself up all the right way, but if you're not conducting yourself the right way on a group ride or on a solo ride and your etiquette's off, then that just kills the vibe, and all that style you've accumulated has just been ruined. So for me, what I'm throwing into the canal is making a mess at the cafe stop, especially if you're on like a club ride. In that instance and you're with other people in a club, when you stop at the cafe, how you conduct yourself is a reflection back on the club, and you're sort of acting as an ambassador for the club. Or even if you're just riding in general, you kind of become a bit of an ambassador for cycling, so to speak, unfortunately. And I've been on group rides and seen people leave empty plates and garbage at the tables, and I think that's really disrespectful to the cafes, which are an icon of all of our rides and that we frequent so often. And I think it's just a really unbecoming look, not even as a cyclist, just as a person in general, to just leave junk around after you've finished your coffee and your croissant. And I think the worst is of all, and I've seen it far too many times and it drives me nuts, and I'm throwing this in the canal big time, is making a mess in the bathroom when you're making a pit stop on a ride. Like, I've seen a group of cyclists like form a huge line in front of the bathroom, and then by the time it gets to me and I'm at the end of the line, the bathroom is like completely messed up. There's piss all over the seat. The whole bathroom looks like Chernobyl. If you're using the bathroom at the cafe stop, that's a gratuity to you. Make sure you leave the bathroom the way that you found it. It's a courtesy to your fellow cyclist who's got to go in there after you. It's a courtesy to the cafe that's having you. And a barista who makes like minimum wage shouldn't have to be cleaning up after your mess in general. So, make sure that when you're out on your rides that you're leaving the cafe the way that you found it.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned before, and actually my week also goes a bit to etiquette, that style is not, it's a way of life. It's not just buying things. It's the way you present yourself on the bike as a cyclist. And, a lot of people don't like this, but unfortunately, one cyclist is sort of an ambassador for all cyclists, the way the non-cycling community sort of sees you, cars and coffee shop owners. It doesn't sort of matter if you're a cyclist; they think you're all like that. So respecting that is super important, and it's a great sense of style. To do that, I'm going to be kind of quick on mine, because mine is also one in relation to sort of respect and etiquette on the group ride. Mine is headphones on the group ride. I'm tossing that into the canal. I think that I'm a very cool person, and so it's going to make this cool. But safety is cool. This is, riding bikes is a lot of fun, and we can have a great time. But anybody knows once you get to a sort of certain pace, you're going pretty fast on a tarmac road in a thin piece of lycra and spandex, and you need everyone to have their focus on when there's 40 of you going 45K an hour. So I'm going to need everyone to be head on a swivel, alert. So on the group ride, please take your headphones out. Individually, that's up to you. Be safe with the cars, understand your risk, but on a group ride, it's unstylish, unpro to wear headphones. Take them off, turn off the music, focus on the group ride. And you've always got a great person next to you to chat, someone that's into the same thing you are. So headphones on the group ride, into the canal.
I think there could be some debate if safety is cool, but I'm with you for sure that, yeah, that's completely unacceptable. Headphones on a group ride. I won't harp on it. Safety, coolness too much. I'll just go right into.
We can have that debate. We can do an whole episode on safety and coolness.
All right.
As someone who's both me and you have broken a few things riding bikes for and doing various other things, and so
true.
Cass, I mean, scars are cool, but not riding your bike for 4 months isn't cool.
No, that's true. Those are some of the worst times of my life. Okay, so for me, I'm gonna throw into the canal something I actually saw yesterday. So as I've mentioned or hinted at a few times on the podcast, is I dabble in racing cyclocross, which is a whole other can of worms in the cycling style spectrum, I think. But yesterday, I had a race. I saw a guy wearing leg warmers, and it was 10 degrees out, 10 degrees Celsius, which, Fahrenheit, I don't know what that is, but it's not that cold. So I'm going to throw wearing leg warmers in a bike race in the canal. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, is you're going to overheat because it's cycling. Your legs get hot. You don't need it. You look like you're going for a winter training ride. It's a race. You should be going so hard that your legs are on fire. So you don't need them. It looks silly. And then, the other thing would be you don't want to end up like Michael Woods, where you can only get one of them off in the middle of a race, and then you're pedaling around with one leg warmer on for God knows how long, and those horrible meme accounts turn you into meme fodder. Maybe my legs are just like more warm-blooded than most people, but for me, I'm saying no leg warmers in any race ever.
All right, so welcome to We Rate Your Bike for Free. Although this week we have a bit of a twist on it. This is called We Rate Your Kit for a Fee. That's right. Typically, we rate your bike for free. But if you want us to rate your kit, you have to pay us. And we accept only UCI currency, i.e. Swiss francs. It's negotiable, but somewhere around 200 Swiss francs per kit. Now, seeing as this is the first kit, we're going to give these people the opportunity to have it rated for free. But in the future, if you want us to rate your kit, it is for a fee. So we are sent in a custom kit by Will, which is him and his local team here in Toronto designed a kit. The team name is Despacito Sexy Pace. Their mantra is you don't want to go fast or too slow. You need to find the sexy pace. They had their they've described their logo, which you'll see when we post the kid on our Instagram, is two turtles humping. He says, I'll let you interpret that as you will. I mean, I guess to me it's just sex, but okay. So they got their kits made by the now defunct Rafa Custom Kit Project. And he stated very correctly that he does not want us to associate him with Rafa Cycling Club, because we know that is not good. Their kit, I'll give a quick description of it. I think Alex is usually better than me at this, but it's I guess it's a sort of a tricolor. It's got three colors. I shouldn't say it's a tricolor, but it's got three colors. They've got a black, a white, and a sort of maroon armband, but these colors sort of sparsely hit in a lot of different spots. The pockets are black, the back is white, the front is black, the armband's white, the arm is maroon. So there's a lot going on here. They have a very handsome model, which I appreciate. Shout out to that guy. And yeah, gentlemen. I mean, we're used to rating a bike, so this is a bit of a change of pace, maybe a sexy pace even. But why don't we get right into it? And Warren, tell us what you think about this.
So I'll start with the positives, which I think is the color palette. I think the white, I think it's black, or maybe it's a really dark blue, and then the maroon, all good color choices. Yeah, I can't really fault that. And even where they've selected to put it on the jersey, I'm good with that too. I'm not going to comment on the team name because, I think cycling team names are often based off of like inside jokes or personal things. So I can't really say too much about that. The logo with the two turtles humping, I'm glad he described it because I didn't know what I was looking at when I looked at the logo. I don't know what to say. My name means rabbit home if you look it up in the dictionary, so I don't think I can comment too much on a logo of two turtles humping each other. If, that works for your team, sure. Two suggestions for improvement or criticisms or whatever you will. Is first of all, you're putting the maple leaf on the back pocket. Actually, you know what? I'm going to flip because I was about to criticize them for that, but actually the way they've done it is better than the Canadian national team jersey, national champion. So you know what? Well done. You've done it better than Cycling Canada. Good job. So the one area for improvement I would say is how they've got Toronto written on the back of the the collar at the top and then Canada underneath. I'm personally not really a fan of writing your location of where you're based on your jerseys, and I get there's like some local pride there maybe or something. Yeah, otherwise
Yeah, I mean, I actually disagree with you. I kind of like the Toronto Canada thing. I'm a repping your repping your spot type of guy, a little more than you, Warren. I think that the colors are great. I sort of disagree a little bit on you with the placement. I think there's too much. I think you should have just stuck with a white or a black or navy or whatever it is, hard to tell in this picture, and not had that sort of two-tone front to back.
mm-hmm.
And I also think because they've got the turtle logo on the pocket, maybe the crest could have been the Despacito Sexy Pace and smaller, and then just left the large Despacito Sexy Pace in the back. There's just like, it's a little bit busy. There's a lot going on. I think they've got a lot of nice elements. Again, color palette's beautiful. I think choosing Rafa for this is actually sort of one of the nicer Rafa custom kits I've sort of seen, actually, because some of them have been bad. But I just think that they kind of put a little too much on. I think if they could have toned it down a little bit, if that front, if the front of the jersey was a little more sort of, had the Despacito Sexy Pace where the fucking turtles is, and then that was only on the back pocket, and then maybe you took the white on the back to make it black, and it was a little more sort of uniform. That's where I'd go. But so there's some improvements to be made, but overall it's a pretty good custom kit. I've seen some, I'm sure if people send in and are willing to spend their 200 Swiss francs with us, I'm sure there's going to be some pretty bad ones. So, good job, Despacito Sexy Pace.
I mean, you guys have basically said all that needs to be said. I'm kind of with Tony on repping your city. I'm kind of a fan of it. So, I'm okay with leaving Toronto and Canada on the kit. It's pretty minimal in its placement, so it's not really like egregious in its position or in your face. It's pretty nondescript. I would probably go with one tone for the front and back. I don't know if I'd go two-tone black and white, but I could see how someone would like it, and that's like super personal, so it's not like an objective truth of how a custom kit should be designed. The Despacito Sexy Pace, the name, I mean, like, I think it's not, it is that based on the DM they sent to Cycling Fashion Week, it doesn't sound like it's a racing team. It sounds like it's a bunch of buddies that just like to kind of get together and rip around for fun. And so the name kind of has like that intramural sports vibe to it. Like, this could also be the name of like a softball team or like a beer league soccer team. So I think in that sense, like it's an it's a fine name. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure that there's probably some inside reference where this comes from that escapes me, that I'm not a part of, that I can't comment on. For the logo, last but not least, I think that two turtles fucking, it's a little too horny for my personal preference.
For your good Roman Catholic sentiment.
Yes, I can't. I'm thinking about riding when I'm riding. I can't have any sexual themes placed in front of me. It's a sin. So I don't want to think about it too much when I'm on the bike. That being said, though, like, objectively speaking, if you take the context out of what I'm looking at, the logo itself isn't particularly offensive. It looks, just like a regular logo. I actually thought, before I realized what it was, I thought it was two cycling caps that were like stacked on top of each other, and I was like, oh, okay, that's like a decent logo.
Two cycling caps fucking?
Yeah, it could be two cycling caps fucking, but I'm saying, like, if you decide that you're over the turtle thing and you're done with it and you want to pivot to something else, you can hang on to this jersey and just tell people it's cycling caps. And if you look at it from that approach and you think of what that is, that it suddenly becomes like a very inoffensive, wholesome cycling logo. It almost looks like something, in that sense, maybe you'd put it on like a rally beer can and it would be like a drink that you have, like casquette it'd be called or something. So, it's the logo is up to interpretation. There's many ways to look at it, and if you did, change it, it could be something else. But all in all, I think, it embodies the essence of, friends that like to get together and ride and have fun, and you can't disrespect that, you can't hate that. So, all things considered, not a bad friendship club kit.
And that does it for another episode of Cycling Fashion Week. I'd like to thank our special guest co-host, Italian Alex, for gracing us with his presence and contributing with some great hot takes. Don't forget to send us your kits, bikes, opinions, thoughts, anything you have to discuss in the world of cycling fashion. Follow us on Instagram at Cycling Fashion Week. Email us cyclingfashionweek@gmail.com. Ciao.